All right, thank you, everyone. It really has been a pleasure to work with Gigi, the Chamber staff members, and especially the members of the board. And I'm looking forward to a great second year. My thanks to all of you for what you do to make our community better. I also want to thank my colleagues from Johns Hopkins University and from Suburban Hospital back there who are here tonight. I've been proud to be associated with both organizations for almost 15 years, but especially so 2 weeks ago when Suburban was recognized with a designation as a magnet hospital by the American Nurses Credentialing Association. Some of you who are familiar with this process know what a long, arduous it is to get that recognition, and it's important. It's an incredible standalone achievement. But Suburban is the first hospital in Montgomery County to receive this recognition. So I'm really proud, and I hope you'll join me in recognizing them. It was so nice to hear Paul recognize his wife. I'm joined here tonight by my family, my husband Mike, and our children, Katie and Brian. Their support and encouragement makes it so much easier to make time for community activities like the Chamber. I want you all to know that Katie went above and beyond tonight. She is spending her 21st birthday with us here instead of at Denizens. But I promised her to make it short so she can go meet her friends and have a more age-appropriate celebration. So, last month, we went to Europe and spent most of the time exploring the battlefield sites of World War I and II in France and Belgium. It was a thought-provoking trip. Senator Cardin talked a little bit about that earlier tonight. The experiences of the men and women who lived through or died in those terrible conflicts provide some lessons for today. Lesson 1, it's important to have good information. We today are awash in data, and there's a whole new industry in data analytics. Most of us struggle, however, to figure out what is relevant and then how to respond. Too often, we look for the data that justifies the belief we've already formed or the path we already want to take. Absent good information, or when data is deliberately manipulated, false assumptions can take hold. This was deadly in World War I. While none of us are committing millions of people to live or die, we do have employees, investors, customers who count on us to objectively gather the facts and make sound decisions based on the evidence we have. The Chamber strives to understand the trends that are affecting our member companies and to be a trusted advocate for policies that will help all of us address these challenges appropriately. Lesson 2 I took away from those battlefields. It's important to work together. At many of the sites we visited, the stories of individual soldiers and their units were told, or it was survivors telling how the villagers shared meager resources to make sure that more people would live to see another day, and how resistance fighters protected the other members of their networks. While there are Americans certainly under fire in hot spots around the world today, most of us are, thankfully, not being called upon to fight for our lives. But we are called upon to work together. As I said last year, all of you joined the Chamber because you realize there are things that you and your businesses can't accomplish alone. I'm excited about the opportunity in the year ahead to lead this team again as we work together to grow our companies, produce great products and like Denizens beer and services, and provide great jobs in Montgomery County. The third lesson, it's important to remain optimistic and keep working to leave the world a better place than you found it. Even after 100 years, it was heartbreaking to stand in the trenches of the Somme and Verdun and think of the soldiers who knew that there was a 1 in 3 chance they wouldn't survive going over the top. Even after 75 years, it was heartbreaking again to stand on Omaha Beach and stare up at the cliff that had to be climbed despite the gunfire raging down. I had to ask myself, how? I mean, really, how did those men find the courage to go over the top or to cross that beach and climb that hillside? I believe that most, if not all of those who fought in those battles, hoped that their efforts would ensure that the world would become a better place. That even if they didn't survive, enough of their comrades would, and surely peace would come again someday. Again, we are lucky not to be called to sacrifice our lives in pursuit of a better world. With our freedoms and our resources, our task to make Montgomery County, the state of Maryland, and our nation a better place is so much easier. Last year, the Montgomery County Historical Society prepared an exhibition and a study that was called The Suburbanization of Montgomery County between 1950 and 1960. That study concluded with these notes. The 1950s in Montgomery County was a decade of optimism and increasing affluence. It was also a decade of great change as county leaders, the business community, and residents worked together, listen to this list, to manage rapid housing growth, provide services to support a booming population, integrate the public school system, and undertake the responsibilities of the new self-rule county government with its elected county council and appointed county manager. These challenges were, for the most part, effectively met, and credit goes to involved citizens, a responsive schools system, and a well-managed county government. The 1959 founders of this chamber were those involved citizens. And I invite all of you in the business community in 2019 to follow in their footsteps. Continue to innovate. Continue to develop the human potential of your employees, and continue to offer leadership. Based on good information and working together, our legacy can be an even stronger community than what we have now. Thank you.